It's 2026, and one of my goals this year was to create a personal budget tracker. You know that saying, what gets measured gets managed. For the longest time, I had no idea where my money was going, and I knew it was time for a change. So rather than relying on good intentions, I decided to build my own personal budget tracker. Hey everyone, my name is Bert. Welcome to the channel where we talk all things personal finance. I wasn't really satisfied with all the paid budgeting apps out there, so I decided to create my own within Google Sheets to be simple, customizable, and most importantly, free of monthly subscriptions. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my setup for the year, show you exactly how the sheet works, and if you like what you see, you can grab a copy with the link in the description below. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're on the computer now, and I've got two copies of the budget tracker open. One is fully populated for the entire year to show you the end result, and the other is blank, so we can build that one together. First, going to start with a quick overview of the entire worksheet, and then I'll walk you through setting up your own using the blank template. So the first tab is the instruction tab. This will contain a quick overview of how everything works. If you do decide to use this sheet, the very first step is to save a copy to your own Google Drive. So the version that I'm going to be sharing is going to be read-only, of course. The version that I'm sharing is read-only, so you'll need your own copy to start editing. The next one is the account setup tab. So this is the foundation of the tracker where you'll define all your account types. Those are going to be your assets, your liabilities, income sources, and expense categories. And it's important to be as detailed as possible here. So the more granular you are now, the more insight you'll get from your budget later. Throughout the sheet, you're going to pay close attention to tables outlined in green here. So these are going to be input fields where you need to enter your data. So we've got a bunch of input fields for asset accounts here, liabilities, income, expense categories, and subscriptions. So just keep in mind, watch out for these highlighted green tables. First section here, we got asset accounts. So here you'll want to list out all your accounts. So this includes any kind of checkings, savings, investments accounts, retirement plans, and any crypto holdings if you have any. Liabilities, this is going to be for your outstanding debt, such as credit cards, car loans, or lines of credit here. And then income, so you'll want to list out all your different sources of income, like your salary, bonuses, or side hustles. Now for the expense table, you're going to want to populate it with all your regular expenses that you expect. Don't enter savings as an expense, so those are going to be handled separately. And one important step is that you must add a category called subscriptions. And so this is going to be required so the sheet can correctly aggregate all your subscription costs from the next table into your total expenses. So in the subscription table here, you're going to go ahead and list all your subscriptions that you currently pay for. It's going to be stuff like Netflix, Spotify, your gym memberships, stuff like that. And finally, notice the last table on the right. This one's going to be your expense and subscriptions sorted. So this table, you'll notice that it doesn't have a green outline, and that's because it's an automated calculation table that combines your expenses and subscriptions into one master list. So you don't need to touch this. It works in the background to help you categorize everything later on. Okay, the next one is the 2026 annual budget. And so this is where you'll plan out your expected income, expenses, and subscriptions for the year. Because of all the work we did in the previous account setup tab, all your categories and account names will automatically appear here. So there's no need to type them in again. You just need to fill out your 12-month budget profile. At the very top, you'll see the budget summary table. So this gives you a quick high-level overview by aggregating the totals from the detailed tables below. So we got the budget summary here, and then we've got three tables below. One is for the budget income, the next is for the budget expense, and lastly, the subscription breakdown. So one thing you want to note is on the savings. So this sheet is designed so that any leftover income you have at the end of the month, that's going to be automatically calculated as savings. So now what you want to do is you want to go through each of the accounts that you've listed and enter your budget. You can choose to forecast the entire year at once or just plan 1 month ahead. whatever works for you. In my example, I've gone ahead and I've budgeted for the whole year up front. And when you're done, your sheet should look something like this, where every row is populated and your total year outlook is clearly visible. So in my case, I've populated everything for the year, and you can see that my tables are complete here. And then I do have a column here for subscriptions should you need to enter some additional comments on how you came up with your budget assumption. Okay, so now let's move on to the monthly budget tab. So I'm going to use January 2020. Okay, so now let's move on to the monthly budget tab. So I'm going to use January 2026 as an example. And so this is going to be your command center where you'll be spending a lot of your time during the month. So at the top, we've got kind of a dashboard overview. This is where you'll get an instant snapshot of your month. This will serve as a summary to visualize your key metrics, such as net worth, income, expense, and savings. So you'll be able to check your financial status very quickly. Just below that, we'll dive into a couple more details here. So this table here is the expense breakdown, and on the left you'll see a detailed breakdown comparing your budget versus actual spend. It shows you the data for both current month and year to date, which I think is very insightful. As well, I've added some visual indicators. So I've got some color-coded variance columns here. So if a cell turns red, you've overspent. If it's green, you're under budget. There's also a progress bar for each of the categories, so you can quickly see how close you are to hitting your limit. On the right here, we've got a subscription tracker. So this is kind of a dedicated breakdown for all your subscriptions. Again, comparing what you planned versus what you actually paid for. And down below that is the data entry section. So this is where you'll enter your actual monthly data. So it's going to be your account balances here, all your liability balances, your savings contributions, or your monthly income. Those are going to go in these 4 tables below. And finally, at the bottom, we have the expense classification table. So this is kind of where some of the magic happens. You can import your credit card statement here, or list out the transactions manually. You can also add cash transactions at the bottom. So once your transactions are in, you'll want to use the drop-down menu to assign each one to a category. So for example, groceries or dining out. And then kind of a pro tip is on the right side of this table, there's a built-in filter. So after you've categorized everything, you can filter to see exactly where your money went. So once you've populated all that, this is what your current month should look like. So you should have a pretty comprehensive snapshot of how you finished that current month. Okay, the last tab we'll look at is the annual tracker. And so this is a long-term view designed to give you a more holistic picture of your entire financial year. The best part is this tab is completely automated, so it requires 0 inputs from you. It just pulls data directly from all the individual monthly sheets that we just looked at, and it aggregates it here instantly. So again, got a nice dashboard view here, just like the monthly tab. The top part, you've got a high-level overview. You can see some trend analysis through some bar charts, so you can compare your budget versus actual performance for income, expense, and savings here. So it's going to be these ones right here. And this kind of helps you spot, if you have any seasonal trends, like if you tend to overspend in the summer or save more in the winter. The donut charts here also give you some category breakdowns by percentages. So for example, you can instantly see if a specific category is eating up a larger slice of the pie than you intended. And then below that, we've got some monthly totals are also shown in tabular format. And that's there to kind of quickly compare, again, budget versus actuals, along with that similar sparkline progress indicators. And if we scroll down below, we'll get kind of a full year picture at a more granular level. So we've got annual summaries here. We have familiar tabular views for your asset, liabilities, and income. And these tables show you the month-by-month progression of every single account. Bottom, we do have a subscription tracker here. So this is pretty helpful for spotting creeping costs, like a service that quietly increases its price in July that you might have missed on a monthly level. Okay, so that about wraps it up for the 2026 annual tracker sheet. So if you've made it this far, you're ready to build. So let's walk through setting up your own tracker using a blank template. So again, first we'll head over to the account setup tab. So this is where we define our categories. And for this demo, I'm going to fast track the process by copying and pasting the accounts from my completed version. But when you do this at home yourself, you want to take time to make sure that these match your real life bank accounts and all your financial accounts and spending habits. All right, so for here, I'm just going to quickly just grab everything here and I'm just going to copy and paste it. Again, I've got a blank one here. So in the accounts tab here, I'm just going to copy in all those accounts just like that. So you can see, just another reminder, again, we only want to be populating the tables in highlighted in green. And then of course you saw that the expense and subscription table was automatically populated here. Okay, next up, let's move to our annual budget. Here. So again, I'm going to be pulling in my pre-calculated numbers. So remember, you don't have to be perfect. At this point, you just want to be estimating. That's estimating is fine to start with, and you can always adjust these later as you get a better feel for your spending. So again, I'm just going to go here. And first up, I'm going to copy in the budget income. Can do that here. I forgot to copy the total. I'm going to copy in like this. The next one is my budget expenses. Can copy in everything with the comments. And then the subscription breakdown, I'm going to grab that as well. And then for me, I've also listed comments on whether or not the subscription is annual or it's paid monthly. And then if it is annual, I put in the renewal renewal month in brackets. Okay, now moving on to the monthly data. Okay, now for the day-to-day stuff, I'll show you how to set up January. So once you get 1 month right, the rest work exactly the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of copy in all my asset account balances. And you'll do that by using the drop-down menu if you were to do it yourself and select the correct account. And then start by plugging in all the balances for that current month. So for instance, you can see all my accounts that I listed originally, they show up here. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to quickly copy them in. And likewise for my liability accounts, my credit cards, put that there. And then my monthly income, can copy that here. And lastly, all my savings, I'm going to put in here. Okay, for the expense classification. So here you definitely don't want to do this manually. What you want to do is in your online banking, export your credit card statement as a CSV file, and then you can copy in those fields directly into this table. That'll save you a lot of time. If you want, you can do it manually, or if you've made any cash purchases, you can just add those manually at the bottom. Okay, so let's do that here. So I'll just show you, copy this in. So this is what it would look like had you copied in your credit card statement from a CSV, and then you would go through each category and kind of assign them to which expense bucket they belong in. So in my case, I'm just going to quickly copy in these existing buckets. Okay, and just like that, we are done with the current month here. So at the very top, you'll see a breakdown of how I performed for this current month. For transparency, a lot of this data here is randomized, but in your case, of course, it would. And then if I show you the annual tracker, you can start to see that one month has been populated. All right, and that's how you set up your budget for 2026. I hope this walkthrough helps you feel a little bit more confident about your finances this year. As a reminder, if you want to grab yourself a copy of my tracker, I have left a link in the description below. Lastly, thanks for watching. Good luck with the goals this year, and we'll see you in the next one.